It's the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and it's time for us to have a look at a Great Flinders football, a man who is going up and back and up and back and up and back and up and back, and that's just in the goal square, is Chris Prime. He joins us on the line right now. Primey, how are you?
I'm good, Rex.
Excellent. How's that crop going? Is he getting it in or what?
We are. We had a little bit of rain last Monday after an absolute crappy windy day, and been going flat out since.
Good stuff. Well, that's good to hear. Speaking of going up and back in the goal square, last week you took off up to Elliston. Before we get to the A-grade clash there, how did 1C Prime go? Did he get out of the goal square? Did he get on the ground? That's the most important thing.
No, I coached the B grade. So coach was playing, so I took on the coaching role.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
Just give that calf a bit of a spell.
The whole body actually. Might have a few more weeks, yeah.
Fair enough. What was the hospitality like there? Elliston Districts welcomed you up the highway. Is that the first time you've ever played on that ground, Primey?
I'm going to have to play in 2022 because I still haven't played on it.
Well, yeah, first time, yeah, exactly, yeah.
First time I've really seen the Oval. It was really good up there. The fish and salad sandwiches, for those going up, you got to try one. Absolutely outstanding. So, yeah.
So catering good, hospitality good, and the football pretty good too. Let's have a look at the A-grade clash now, and it was Elliston Districts getting the chocky, so no wonder they had a good day. They enjoyed having Tumby Bay on hand. 10-15-75, 6-13-49. You guys were severely undermanned, we know that. Elliston Districts had a few out as well, but all in all, that's a pretty solid game of football, bar for, by the looks of it, some fairly ordinary goal kicking.
Yeah, look, I think Elliston Districts could have had the game wrapped up probably a quarter time. I think they kicked 1 goal 6 in the first quarter. And some of them weren't overly difficult shots. But to Tumby's credit, they fought, and I think to a couple of goal lead into half-time. The Elliston Districts came out at half-time and just kicked away. Tumby didn't quite show the same endeavour they showed in the first half, and just couldn't keep up.
Indeed. That's the tale of the tape. 8-1 after the long break. King O'Loughlin booted 4, Rosalia 3 for Elliston Districts. Nigel James up forward booted 3 for Tumby.
Yeah, James is good in the goal square. Elliston probably just had a few more runners. Their spread across the ground after half-time was outstanding, and our guys just couldn't keep up with them. So, yeah, once again, they just played a better team game than us and played it for longer. So, well done.
They're a good side at the moment by the looks. In fact, if you have a quick look at the ladder now, that moves them up to 3rd, Elliston Districts on the ladder. Only a game behind Cougars, believe it or not, who are undefeated, along with Yeelanna, who are undefeated at the moment, United Yeelanna. So those two are the clearly the two best teams in the competition. Are Elliston next best? There's probably not much in it between Elliston, Lock and Ramblers, just depending on the draw, right?
I think that's right. I think those three sides are going to battle it out for the last 2 top 4 spots. So, it's hard to pick. It'll come down to injuries and, as you said, and who plays who. Ramblers showed pretty good form this week, so it'd be hard to pick those out of those 3.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's have a look at the other A-grade matches played last week, and it was Cummins Kapinnie Cougars 12-11-83 over Ramblers, a very accurate 8-1-49. So not a huge amount in this game, but the story here again, Yoe Wagner booting another 10 goals out of the 12 that Cummins Kapinnie Cougars kicked. Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing to have a full forward that's in full flight. I guess it's always better to share them around. So if Yoe gets stopped one week, then someone else steps up. But generally, if the ball's coming in there, and there will be someone else step up if Yoe gets stopped there one week. And that doesn't look like happening in a hurry.
No, it doesn't. I guess it's one of those things. It's a nice problem to have when you've got a bloke of that sort of quality running around in the goal square and kicking them from everywhere. But you're right, it only takes... and we know that United Yeelanna at their best have got a pretty strong defence. So you'd want multiple avenues, I would have thought. But, hey, you got a guy in form who's kicking straight and putting them through. Why wouldn't you keep giving him the footy?
Oh, you would. And it's a lot of it's more up the ground too. Like, I mean, while is a good full forward and very quick, the delivery coming in, and if you've got that pressure upfield, it makes it harder to hit the forward. And I think that's probably why Ramblers stayed in it. They lost their full forward. Young Richo did his knee. Not sure how badly yet during the game. So that's a bit of a blow for them. But, once again, they're a young side. They'll learn. And I think I'll just keep improving Ramblers.
Yep, yeah, I think you're right. Doherty, Dennis, Franklin and Harsman named in their best. Pake, who is, nobody talks about this boy, but he's always around the mark for Cougars every year and every week. He's normally in the best players for them. He's just Mr. Consistent. Horgan, Coombs, and, the two Pake boys named in the best there, but Lockie Pake in particular, just Mr. Consistent, isn't he?
Oh, he is. And I mean, once again, they've got an outstanding group of players, and it's just finding the balance this year, and they've got someone up front that can finish off for them. So, they're real contenders at the moment.
Yep. Okay, the final match of the round was, we got what we kind of expected. The Eagles, United Yeelanna, took on the Saints at Karku, and at quarter time, this could have been anything, 10-4, 64 to nothing. So we're staring down the barrel of 40 goals here, but the Saints put up a bit of a fight beyond that. They were beaten soundly 12-18, 150 to Eyre United in the end, 2-7-19. But thankfully, it didn't get too far out of hand, mate. Cretton, by the way, we've got to say here, booted 12 goals on the day, if you don't mind, Matty Cretton. So he's had a good day out.
Yeah, it's a bit of a problem at the moment. Full forwards are kicking a lot of goals. So I think whether it's the backman or the centre play, and I think it tends to be a bit more up the ground, but once again, you get that free run through the middle and you can hit those forwards, or, they're pretty hard for a backman to stop one-on-one. So, the 6-6-6 doesn't allow you to flood the black line. So, it's pretty hard to defend if you can get it out in the middle, especially on a small ground. So, full forwards paradise.
That's a good point, actually. I'm glad you mentioned that. We were talking about this with from Northern Areas footy the other day on the sports show, the great Graham Spud Mackay. He said the same thing. The 6-6-6, what it does, if you've got a dominant midfield and you've got some half-decent forwards, if you're not kicking goals, you're at least locking it in your forward half. And ball spends a lot of time down one end of the ground, and obviously that's what's happened here as well and tends to happen on a regular basis. Are we good to keep this 6-6-6 rule in country footy, you think, Primey, or is it actually working against some of the sides who are really battling?
It probably works against the sides. It's better for viewing footy. You don't see those players get behind the ball. Like the common thing, it was a bit of a breezy day. You always played one loose and played one less in your forward lines. I mean, that can't happen now. Like, I spent a few years where you'd have a bloke stand 20 metres in front of the full forward. Well, that doesn't help. That doesn't help the view of footy. So I don't think it's going to change. I think we're sort of stuck with that one. But it's also about the ovals. Like, I mean, Elliston's oval is I think it's a 37.5 metre, 50-metre line.
Yep.
And then you go to Cummins, and there's a 10 or 15-metre gap between the 50 and the square. So, like some of the grounds being shorter, actually, you don't get quite as much room. But on the likes of Cummins oval, you get the ball out of the middle, you actually can run quite a way and get it forward. So it's actually learning on each oval how to play it. So it's different everywhere you go.
That's a fair point. All right, mate. Let's now have a look back. And actually, just before we move on, I sort of skipped over this earlier on, but I know the Elliston Districts game versus Tumby Bay, there was a red card. Now, I think a Tumby Bay boy got a red card. Have you ever seen a red card before that?
No, and I've probably done a couple of things that deserve it and seen a couple of other things that maybe deserve it. But in my years of footy, I haven't seen a red card. There's a little bit in the incident. I think TK's got suspended for a week. And, I thought two guys, out by themselves, toe-to-toe, bit of a scuffle afterwards, possibly a yellow card. But, red cards are pretty serious offence, if you ask me.
So you said there the person who got the red card was suspended for 1 week. Did that go in front of a tribunal, or is that just an automatic thing?
Look, I haven't caught up with them yet. That's only the feedback I've got through the club. So I believe it's automatic. Once you get red carded, it's an automatic report, and then I guess that goes on an automatic suspension. So.
Going to say the reason I say that is because if there's an incident that warrants a red card in country football, if that's fronted a tribunal, I'd suggest it's worth more than 1 week. Now, I'm not casting aspersions on the incident itself because I didn't see it. I don't know, but I'd think it's unusual to get a red card, then go to the tribunal and only get a week if the red card was legit. That's just the way I read it. Like I said, I haven't seen the incident, don't know the incident, don't know what happened. So I find that interesting. That's a little odd. But then again, that's just my take on what I think a red card is. And I think the red card normally was brought in for the worst of the worst. Those incidents behind the ball, where someone gets hit from behind, never sees it coming, or someone's on the ground and they get kicked. The worst, the dirtiest of the dirtiest incidents, I think, are what the red card was instituted for. And without having seen that incident, I can't comment on it. But you were obviously there, Primer. Do you think it was one of those?
Oh, look, I don't. Personally, I think the red card's the last resort. Umpires got a lot of other tools in their bag before they get to that. I've seen people reported without being yellow or red carded.
Yep.
Look, I think the yellow card sends someone off and gives them 10 minutes to cool down. Well, that's the circuit breaker, and that works that way. As I said, I haven't seen the red card come out before, and I've seen incidents that are definitely worse on a footy field that haven't got it. And it just comes down to the umpire's interpretation of that at the time. So.
Interesting. Anyway, we'll move on to this week's games, and that takes nothing away from Elliston Districts either. Good on them for winning that game of footy and doing it the way they did. Speaking of Elliston Districts, nothing for them to worry about this week, given that they've got the bye, so they get to sit back and watch some footy this week and put the feet up. Probably well earned too. I think they've had a pretty good start to the season in the new comp.
They have. Look, I reckon they might have another forward's curse. I reckon their full forward might have hurt his knee late in the game last week, so waiting to hear how that goes. We've been waiting for rain to soften the ovals up, and hopefully that will stop a few of these serious knee injuries going on.
Yeah, good point. Well, we've got an interesting round of matches. Let's talk about Lock first. The two rivals from just up the road from each other, Lock will welcome the crew from Karku up the highway, and the Eagles will come up there with plenty of confidence, as will the Roos. They'll host these guys, and I think it's probably a good time to get them rested, refreshed. They're ready to go, Lock. This should be a good game of footy.
Oh, it should. I mean, Lock are playing some pretty good footy. I don't know if they got a couple of guys back, but Yeelanna's depth isn't quite what it was in the past few years, so I think Lock will push them, and it'll be a real challenge for Yeelanna and probably a bit of a measuring stick to see where Lock really are at. So, on Lock's home ground, big oval, I think Yeelanna will get the chocolates, but I don't think it'll be by much.
Yeah, I don't think the big oval will scare Yeelanna. We're both in agreement that Yeelanna should win, but the margin, I think, will be of interest, and whether or not Lock can really stick with the best in the comp at the moment?
Look, I think they can. Look, it's just if they can stay with it if they can be in the game at three-quarter time, like, it gives them that opportunity. Like, it's how long you can stay in the game and against these better sides, and not shown that, you know, they can stay in games at three-quarters, and then, like, it comes the last one that's a bit of a roll of the dice. Like, you've got the legs left, or you can get over the line. So, yeah, I think might push them, but yeah, Yeelanna will win by a couple of goals.
Tumby Bay, big assignment for your boys. You welcome Cummins Kapinnie Cougars to the Blues Nest, and these guys are up and going at the moment. It's who can stop Yowie Wagner up forward for Cummins Kapinnie, and will you guys get some players back finally?
The short answer to that's no. I think we'll have short numbers until we get after Mortlot and a bye, so we'll get another couple of weeks. So,
okay.
Yeah, it will be a bit short on numbers, but we'll have 20 blokes out there battling away. So it's a little bit, if we can stop Kapinnie Cougars midfield, we might be able to stop the delivery in the full forward. But look, going on our history against Slot, we couldn't do it there with Beardy. So I think that'll be the biggest match-up worry. And there are the boys trying to work out who's going to get the job at full back.
Indeed. Well, when you look at Cummins Kapinnie, there are a lot more to them than just Yowie Wagner. You've got Hazel, as in Hazel Grove, the two Pake boys that we mentioned earlier. They're a class unit. That's just a couple of the boys there that'll be feeding Wagner. So you don't kick 10 goals out of 12 by picking up loose ground balls all day. No doubt he's getting good service at the moment.
Oh, he is, and the best way to stop a forward is not let the ball in. So, I mean, you've got to stop it in the midfield. So that'll be Tumby's job. Like, they've got a couple of good midfielders in there, and they've just got to keep it in there. Like, put as much pressure on and not let it down there. Like, and once again, I think Tumby will battle it out for a half, and then I think just weighted numbers takes its toll. Second half just has been a bit of an issue, and I think it is just, you know, you're asking too much from too few, and it just gets too hard.
Tell you what, at Ungara, the last match of the round, I reckon we got the McKinnon Stakes of Great Flinders footy here. It's almost a weight for age contest. Eyre United taking on Ramblers, two fairly young teams going at it. That will be welcome for Eyre United. They probably won't get beaten up as much as they have against some of the bigger body teams going around, but Ramblers should still have far too much class and get the job done here, right?
I think so. I think overall, like, the younger bodies are one thing, but I think the generals in the midfield and forward with the Pedler boys just drive Ramblers, and I think they'll get over the line comfortably. Once again, Eyre United will battle for that half, three-quarters and be in the game, but I think Ramblers will probably control the game for most of the day, but I might take them to three-quarter time to actually break the game wide open. So, that'll be a bit of a contest for a while.
Yeah, all in all, should be an interesting round of footy. We'll be watching, I think the winners almost picked themselves this round. The margins will be the great points of interest throughout round 7 of Great Flinders footy. Primey, anything else before we wrap up?
No, obviously coming up to Mortlock and Kinlow, both those lots of spots have been named. And just be grateful that there's a bit of rain on the ovals to soften some of them, some of those old legs and the young legs, and hopefully we can get away without a few injuries. So, good luck to everyone playing this weekend. It's always good to get out there on a Saturday, so enjoy it.
Indeed. We'll talk more about Morlock next week, but for now we'll leave it there, mate. Good luck getting that crop in, and enjoy your work from the bench this week as Tumby take on Cummins Kapinnie Cougars. We'll catch up with you next week, Primey.
No worries. Thanks, Rex.